if you've been following the channel for a while, you're bound to have seen the Jetboil minimo stove. One of my favourite bits of kit. It's a fully integrated canister stove where everything nestles inside the pot, boils water incredibly fast, and it's really efficient on gas. So I definitely recommend this bit of kit. However, today I'm going to try and convince you why you might be better off in building a camping cook set of your own, rather than buying something that is already set up and ready to go. So you don't need to have a stove to go camping. However, after a long day of hiking in the rain and the cold, it's a really good morale booster to have a hot drink and some hot food. So that's where a stove comes into its own. So if you just need to boil water to rehydrate your meal, something like a Jetboil is a superb bit of kit. All the components for the stove nestle inside the pot, so it doesn't take up a lot of space in your backpack. So the secret to Jetboil's fuel efficiency and rapid boil times is the heat exchanger in the bottom. It concentrates all the heat into the pot, but that usually means that the pot has to clip onto the burner somehow. And that means that you can't put a regular frying pan or pot directly onto this burner. So it does limit its use a little bit. So Jetboil's workaround for this is this little adapter that fits on top of the stove. So you can put a normal frying pan on there now. However, the burner is really designed for this kind of pot. So if you're using frying pans, things like that, you can get a concentration of heat which is right in the middle of the pan, which isn't always ideal for cooking delicate items like omelettes and pancakes. So if you do have any problems, for example, your burner broke for whatever reason, and it also limits your pot a little bit because it is only designed for this particular burner. And with it having the cozy on and being softer aluminium, you couldn't really use this maybe on a wood stove or on a fire. So you're very limited for what you can use this pot for. So although this system is great, it's also quite expensive, around £130 retail. But by building a system of your own, you can maybe save a few quid as well. So here we've got a camping cook system that I've built up from various different components. But before we dig deeper into this, a quick thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring the video today. So I've used Squarespace to build my website, and we use it for selling merchandise and for promoting our videos. I started off by choosing one of their many templates, then I uploaded some photos, added some text of my own, moved a few things around here and there, and within a couple of hours I'd built a website from scratch. It's really easy to use. However, if you get a little bit stuck, they've still got some online video tutorials to help you out. Yesterday's job on the website was to highlight the winners of our recent giveaway and competition, but we pretty much use the website every day for checking analytics, stock levels, and for processing orders. So if you want to have a go at creating a website of your own, you've got nothing to lose. Just click the link in the description below or head over to squarespace.com/Paul Messner. You'll get a totally free trial, and then you get 10% off your first purchase. So like the Jetboil setup, all of this kit here fit neatly into a small little package, either in or on top of the mug. The great thing about building a setup of your own is that you can customize it to exactly meet your needs. There's loads of benefits from building a camping cook set of your own. I'll start off with a pot. There's a number of things that you might need to consider, such as what's actually got to fit in it and for how many people is it going to be used for. So I chose this pot specifically, which is a Toaks 750mm, because I knew that the Soto Windmaster and the MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe would both fit inside this stove with a gas canister, with a spoon, with a lighter as a spare, and then my mug can just fit on top inside the little bag. Another benefit of having the titanium pot is that if for any reason my stove broke or I ran out of fuel, I could use this on a fire or a wood stove. With it being titanium, it's really lightweight and it cools down very quickly. So this is the setup here that I use just for me. However, if I was taking Joe with me, I could swap this out for a bigger pot, and that would fit nicely on top of this stove that I'm using at the moment, the Soto Windmaster. Which brings me nicely on to choosing a stove. So the Windmaster is probably the best all-round screw-on canister stove. It performs exceptionally well in all conditions. It's got a micro-regulator, so you get constant gas pressure even in cold conditions. By far the best performing stove of this type in the wind. So the 4-flex pot support can be swapped out for the tri-flex if you want to save a couple of grams. However, this is Great for using larger pots, pans, frying pans, things like that, as well as just taking a small pan or pot if you need it to. Choosing a stove with a built-in igniter helps, however I always take a spare way of lighting the stove as well. So one of the biggest benefits for building a stove system of your own is that you can swap things out. So if I decided that I didn't want this particular stove, I could swap it and still use it with this pot. I could still fit everything into the same little package. I might want to take a frying pan, cook my steak, or swap the spoon for a fork. And as I said earlier, use a bigger pot if I wanted to cook for 2 people. So another huge benefit of building your own system is the initial cash outlay. So if you want to buy some kind of Jetboil, you're shelling out somewhere between £80 and £150, depending on which model. But you are getting the full package where everything's included: stove, burner, pot support, things like that. But if you're just starting out, you could crack on by just buying the stove. So this particular one's about £43 at the moment. You could buy something cheaper, then just use one of the pots and pans that you've got in your kitchen. Use a spoon from the kitchen drawer or a mug from the cupboard at home. And then you can start and build your kit up as you go along. So after you've got your stove, you might, next payday, want to get yourself a mug. And then do it that way, build up slowly. You haven't got to get everything in one go. But if you've shelled out £130 for the minimo and realise that the pot isn't big enough for you, then basically the whole system needs to be replaced. But upgrading to a larger pot on your self-build system means you've only got to buy one bit of it. And you've also got your original bit of kit if you want some kind of backup or something smaller for another occasion. For both kinds of stoves though, you can accessorise a little bit. So Jetboils that come with coffee pressers, things like that. You can actually get titanium pots that come with a coffee press or filter systems if that's what you're into. This is a Soto stove, so you can get away with using MSR or even Jetboil gas for this particular stove. You don't always have to stick to the same brand of gas. So this kind of system isn't going to be quite as efficient on fuel as the Jetboil, but the difference isn't massive. So for a typical hydrated meal, this will use around 5 or 6 grams for me, whereas this stove's probably 8 or 9 grams. So unless you're doing hundreds or thousands of boils, it's not going to add up to a huge amount of money. So overall, the self-build system is going to be cheaper. You can get a stove for anywhere between £10 and £70 if you want the Pocket Rocket Deluxe. However, me personally, I recommend going for the Pocket Rocket 2 or the Soto Windmaster. They're around £30 to £45 each, and you get your best bang for your buck there. You can get pots from £10 upwards. I think this one was £40, but you can get a titanium one for around £18 from what I've seen. And then all the money that you've saved, you can get fancy mugs and fold-in spoons if that's what you want. You can get a plastic fold-in spoon for about £2 from Decathlon. I think this one's about £13. That's a Toaks one. I'll get these put away and show you the pack sizes side by side. The Jetboil is a little bit bulkier and heavier, but you've got to bear in mind that this has got a greater volume of a 1 litre pot, whereas this is only 750. So both setups have got everything inside. So compact bits of kit really, whichever you choose. So let me know in the comments below what kind of system you prefer. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.